Hey friends, and welcome to the Happy Hour podcast with Jamie Ivey. I am your host, Jamie, and I want to say that I'm so glad you're here. Each week on the Happy Hour, I invite a girlfriend or two to join me, and we chat about life. It's as if we have sat down at our favorite coffee shop and we're just chatting with each other. Whenever you're done listening, head on over to my website, jamieivey.com, for all the show notes. Anything we talk about, any links that we mention, they'll all be there waiting for you. And as always, if you love the show, I'd love to hear from you. Any comments that you leave on iTunes always help people find the show. I love connecting with you listeners. So find me on Facebook, Twitter. I'd love to get to know you there. Thanks for listening, guys, and here's today's show. Today's podcast is brought to you by Howdy Do Prints. Howdy Do Prints specializes in custom invitations and graphic designs. Amanda is super easy to work with and sends you design work electronically, so you have a lot of flexibility and options for printing. You can check out some of her pre-made designs on her Etsy shop, or you can work with her on something custom. Amanda is offering all podcast listeners a 10% discount for all orders over $15 using the code JAMIE10. You can search for Howdy Do Prints in the Etsy shop, or you can email Amanda directly at howdyprintstx@gmail.com. Today's guest on the show is Jessica Thompson. Jessica is a mom and a wife and a speaker and an author. She's authored 3 books. They're called Give Them Grace, Exploring Grace Together, which is a devotional book for your family, and her newest book, Answering Your Kids' Toughest Questions. We talk a lot about those on the show today. I love her laugh so much on the show. We talk about some very serious stuff and also some very lighthearted stuff. This is actually a very fun podcast that I loved recording so much. So I hope you enjoy it. She's also giving away some books, so listen at the end of the show and we'll tell you how you can win them. Here's Jessica. Oh, and one last thing. Usually when I record with a guest, I start and open like, hey, welcome to the Happy Hour, Jessica, da-da-da-da. We just started talking and we just never stopped. And so there's no formal introduction here. We just get going. So jump in on with us.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. I'm using one of those. It looks like an old school telephone. Like you plug it into your iPhone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You plug it into your iPhone, but then it's whatever. It's like an old school headset.
Yeah.
No. Like I'm holding it up to my ear like I'm back in 1982.
Oh, like you're holding up a phone.
Yes. But because it's so hard to, sometimes headsets, like, they're uncomfortable. And I'm sure you want to know all this.
My kids would see that headset and be like, what is that? We don't even know what that is.
Listen, last night my kids asked me what a pager was. My mom was telling me how we didn't have cell phones. My mom was telling my kids how we didn't used to have cell phones. She's like, yeah, if we wanted to get a hold of them, back in the day we used pagers. And it was kind of a big deal that we had a pager. Like, we were pretty high tech.
For sure.
And my kids were like, what's a pager? I was like, oh, geez.
It's great. Something else happened the other day with one of my kids, and I looked at Aaron and I said, they'll never know about it. They'll never know.
It's so weird.
It was so fun. I think that someone told us they had a video we could borrow, and like, it's a VHS. And we're like, well, who has one of those?
Nobody.
I don't have
one.
Right,
no one.
I always tell Aaron, and he doesn't listen to my podcast, please, like he'll ever hear this, but I always tell him, I'm like, you know what I want for an anniversary? All I want. I don't need a nice restaurant. I don't need a vacation. I want my wedding video to be transferred to a DVD.
So my husband did for me last year for Christmas.
He did?
Yeah, it was the best present. Like, I know it probably didn't cost that much. I can't imagine that it did, but I didn't ask for it, nothing. And he's not.
That's a thoughtful gift right there.
He is like the best gift buyer in the world. Every Christmas and every birthday, I'm just completely shamed by how out of touch I am with what he would like and how in touch with what I would like he really is. It's actually, yeah.
That's so funny because, Aaron, my husband's birthday is coming up in a couple weeks, and I was actually thinking the other day, I usually suck at buying him gifts. Because if I get him like a shirt, he'll take it back. Like I refuse to do clothes anymore. I lost that a long time ago. So then I resort to like cooking supplies because he loves to cook. But then I'm like, really, this is for me because whatever he makes benefits me more than anyone. So I've struggled with getting him gifts.
Yeah. I'm on the sports memorabilia kick. Because I feel like it's the only thing that he likes. But then what does he do with that? It's just, it puts it in his office.
Just
It's this
stuff.
overabundance of crap that
I
we
know.
just insist on giving each other.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know?
Oh, I know. I know. And what Aaron really wants for his birthday is like $300. He told me that he wants this Nespresso thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Because it's like heaven in a coffee cup. And he tells me, and I'm like, oh, I would love that too. This is a great gift for you. And then I'm like, do you want me to, like, because he does all of our budgeting. And so then I'm like, do you want me to spend $300 on you for your birthday? He's like, oh no. And I'm like, I guess you're not kidding. I don't know what to do then. I'm out of ideas. I don't know. It's hard.
Oh, and my husband, every year, he buys all the kids gifts. Like, he does the shopping.
Wow.
All the Christmas shopping. Because I'm so bad at it. I'm like, I forget what they like.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, my kids are always like, I'll go get pizza. And every time I get pizza, I'll get pepperoni, like more pepperoni than I do just cheese. And every time I bring it home, and they're like, Mom, nobody likes pepperoni pizza. It's like I walk into a store and my brain turns off.
I know. I hear you. Some of my kids like mayonnaise and some of them don't. I couldn't tell you which ones do and which ones don't, but I just prepare mayonnaise and mustard, and then they can get what they need to get.
Right.
I don't have the space to remember who does not like mayonnaise.
I know.
These are the parenting dilemmas that we live in these days, Jessica. When are you going to write a book about this?
I need like an entire flow chart on my wall of what my kids like and don't like.
Oh my gosh.
And then by the time I actually get organized enough to do that, they'll be out of the house.
They'll be gone.
So
I know. And sometimes my kids, like if I actually give whichever one doesn't like mayonnaise, the mayonnaise sandwich, they look at me like, Mom, how could you? Do
totally
you not know me? Yeah, exactly. Mayonnaise, gross. I've never. I'm like, I'll give it to your brother. I don't know. Somebody eats it and somebody doesn't.
It's so true.
Oh
my goodness.
Okay, so speaking of, you need to write a book about this. My family, we've been doing Exploring Grace together.
Have you?
Yeah. Is
this
your newest thing?
I don't know what to say right there.
Is this
your
newest?
The best book you've ever read in your life?
It's top 3, Jessica. It's top 3 for sure. Actually, every time we finish, my kids look at me and go, "Who wrote this, Mom? This is brilliant."
Are you really?
No, they don't say that, but I do. That was an awful joke. No, but Aaron and I look at each other and go, "We love this." Okay, but is this your newest book?
Well, yes. No.
Because your newest one is the question one.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I knew someone would know.
See?
That's our newest book, that's Answering Your Kids' Toughest Questions, which actually was a really hard book to write.
I can imagine. Just like all of our parents are looking to you.
Yeah. Well, and I had no idea. And all those topics that we talk about are pretty dark. It's not like, tell me to write a book on the love of Jesus. And it's like, yes, because then I get to think about it all day long.
Oh, but now you're talking about...
Yeah, like sexual sins and
death
pornography and all that stuff. Right, death and Satan and demons, and it's like it was dark. I didn't love it, to be honest. It was hard to write. I didn't want to think through that.
I can see that, because I can see as a parent sometimes, and this is not a correct response to life at all, but sometimes I would just rather not talk to my kids about those things because it's so hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would
the other
rather
day my
talk
daughter
about,
asked,
like you said, Jesus' love and grace and all the fun stuff that comes with being a believer.
Yes. So the other day my daughter asked me about a Ouija board. Is it real? How does that really work? And I just, honestly, I wanted to be like, you know what? Let's not talk about it.
Yeah. You don't need to know. Don't worry.
Yeah. Don't you worry your pretty little head about that. But like having to talk to her about that and explain evil is real, just like good, and Jesus is real. It wasn't a fun conversation, and I think part of that is just fear on my part. Like, am I going to say the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And am I going to make her more interested in it? And all this kind of stuff that it's clearly just me trusting in my own works and not trusting that if I am honest, God will do with it what he wants to do with it. So it was a hard conversation, and my best friend was standing there with her daughter, who's a little bit older than mine, and she's just watching me and listening and adding, which is so nice to have friends and community, where she tidied up my theology a little bit and added a little bit. And when she was done, I was like, dang, girl, you need to be the one that goes around and speaks. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, and we've done a lot of podcasts recently with Virgin Women, and you've been one of our guests on there. And so I wish I could know who I'm about to quote, but I think it was actually either you or your mom, but I'm not certain. So here we go.
Okay.
But I remember talking to someone about stuff like this, and they just said the thing is that when your kids, when they think when you're not talking to them about stuff, they think that you don't really know about it.
Yeah.
And so then what they do is they just take the information that their friends are giving them, and they think, well, that's valid and that's truth and that's what I need to know. And so they don't feel like they need to go talk to their parents about it.
Right.
And I remember whoever it was that said that, I remember that has stuck with me for a while, because I'll get in grooves with parenting where I'm like, God, we are doing good, Aaron. These kids are not asking us anything. I mean, we have got this parenting stuff down, and then something will happen and it'll like snap me back into reality where I'm like, just because they're not coming to me, it doesn't mean that they're not hearing it or they're not having thoughts. And so I feel like being proactive as a parent in these types of things is one of the hardest things for me.
It is. It is. And it's so much easier just to not. And I think part of it too is I deal with my own doubts, and I don't want to expose those doubts to my kids, which is stupid.
It's basically us saying, God, I don't think you're big enough to deal with these doubts. And so I'm not going to let my kids know about them, because then they might not know you and they might not love you. And yeah.
And even to admit to myself, I actually do have doubts. Is scary to say.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think Sally Lloyd Jones said, it's not this, in one of her amazing books for kids, it's not the strength of your faith, it's the strength of the one you have your faith in. And so it's just that. It's remembering that even for myself over and over again. I do have doubts, but he can handle my doubts. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it's okay to speak that to my kids. So when she's asking me these questions, and I can say, it's hard to believe this and it's hard to understand that. And that's okay, because he's big enough to handle even that.
Right. How old are your kids?
So yesterday, my middle son turned 14.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And at the end of this week, on Friday, my oldest son turned 16. So they were just born a few days apart. And like anytime I tell anybody that, they always do the math, like 9 months backwards.
What happened? Yeah.
Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day. Pretty close.
You know what? My husband's birthday is November 16th. That's around Valentine's Day too, isn't it?
It is. It's right in that area.
That's hilarious.
Yes, we only on Valentine's Day.
Once a year.
So those two, so 16 my oldest, 14 my middle, and then my little girl turned 11 a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So
you're right. My oldest is almost 11. And so you're right ahead of me. So I'm just put my eyes on Jesus and you, and we'll see what happens.
I wish you had a shirt that said that. I'm just going to put my eyes on Jesus and Jess.
And we can sell that stuff. You get a free t-shirt with every book order. So my youngest is a daughter and she's 7. And so my gaze right now is on middle school boys. I don't have middle school girls on my mind, but I have middle school boys on my mind. When you wrote that book about answering the toughest questions, I guess my question for you is, were you thinking through the lens of your kids and like, cause you're in that stage, you're in like middle school stage.
I am. And it's, man, talk about having to just trust the Lord. So my oldest son is like, so he's a sophomore, and he is just sweet as the day is long and good, quotation marks good.
Right.
Loves Jesus, pretty much always does everything right. And then my middle son is my wild card. Makes me laugh like nobody else, is just amazingly funny, and just cute, like a real good looking boy.
Mm-hmm.
But real quiet, So my older son tells me everything, and then he's real quiet. So
Okay, I'm thinking in my head, I have two kids exactly like what you just described. So I have these kids in my house. So keep going.
Yeah. So with him, a lot of this stuff I forced him into conversations with me. I just told him, "You're not gonna like this."
Uh-huh.
And so you can pretend like you're listening, and if you really don't want to listen, that's up to you. But I need you just to sit quietly and listen to what I'm about to talk to you about. Specifically, I think I remember talking to you guys about pornography. That was a big one. Um, and it's hard to know what's going on in our kids' lives, especially that middle school age. They're figuring things out, and I think in a lot of ways, middle school is harder than high school, just socially.
Socially, for sure, I would guess, yeah.
And so I just tell him, if there's anything you want to talk to me about, which he won't, but then I tell him constantly, I need you to know, and this is another one of my best friend. She's 10 years older and has, she has 8 kids, and 7 are actually adopted. So you guys have that in common.
Yes.
And she, I kind of follow her in this whole thing, and she just says that every night she prays, Lord, show me the things that I need to know about my kids, whatever they're hiding or whatever they can't talk to me about. And I need to know those things, show them to me. And for all the things that I don't need to know that they might be hiding, help me just to trust you with those things.
Oh, that's so hard.
Oh, so hard, but so good.
Right.
I mean, and I tell him, I'm praying that. And, if there's things I need to know, I'm trusting that God's going to reveal or show me those things somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, he's been faithful to do that. And for all the things that I don't need to know specifically what's going on, because I want to get in his life and just fix everything and help him with everything.
For sure, yeah.
For all those things, like, Lord, just help me to trust that you've got it. And that is hard.
That is so hard. It reminds me, just the other day, we were a couple of devotional backs in that book that we're doing that's yours. One of them was about a secret, and we got through the end, and I don't know if it's Aaron's doing. I don't know if it's a question in here or if he just said it, but he said, "Does anybody, any of y'all feel like you have like the secret that you can't tell or whatever?" And one of my kids, the younger ones, just kind of threw their hands up like, "Oh, whatever." But my oldest, kind of like, I could see he was thinking, and then his hand went up, and I was like, "Oh gosh, what is it?"
You're like, no, I really wanted a no answer right there.
Right. So then Aaron's like, does anyone want to share? And he was like shaking his head no. And every awful thing that could ever happen to your child was going through my head,
Yeah.
And then later we talked about it, and it's whenever we have those moments, it's always like, yeah, I was playing my DSI in bed the other night. I didn't tell you, and I'm just like, okay, all right. But that's a good thing to that's a scary prayer because it's hard for me as a kind of a controlling person. I need to know what's happening. I think I do,
Right.
And just to kind of let that go.
Right. I think I'm more of like I just bury my head in the sand type of girl. Like, I don't want to know anything.
Just rather keep going.
Yes, everybody just act like it's okay.
Right.
And let's just keep moving forward. But praying that God would show me those things and actually open my eyes to them. That part's more scary for me than praying all the stuff that I don't need to know. You can just keep it, and it's
the stuff that you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that part is hard for me. I go by the motto, if I ignore it long enough, it'll just eventually get better, right? That's in the Bible.
How's that working out for you? Oh, I remember when I was a teenager, my mom told me one time that she would always pray that I would get caught doing whatever I was doing. And she said that was hard because that would mean consequences for a child that you love, Right. I mean, I think about praying that for my kids, and of course I want their sins to be revealed, but sometimes that is a scary place to be. And so to pray that for your kids, but she knew that, bringing stuff to the light is way better than, hiding stuff in the dark. And so that's, parenting is so hard.
It is. Can you imagine praying that for yourself?
Oh.
Like, Lord, catch me. Mm-hmm. Do you know, reveal the things. I can't, that is a scary thought.
It is. It is.
And I think a lot of that too is just, I'm so worried. I mean, I don't know all that's in my heart, but I know a lot of that secret brokenness that I try to hide. And I guess the beautiful thing is he does see all that and loves us anyway.
Yeah.
And that really has to be where all of our hope is, because even with our kids, some of the time I don't want things to be revealed because I'm afraid of what other people will think.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
Yeah.
so, Jessica must not be a good parent, or, I mean,
Yeah.
they would, if they knew me, they'd know that wasn't true. No, I'm
Right,
kidding.
right. No, I'm that way too. I have a huge approval idol. And
Yeah,
so my kids can be going crazy in the house and it bothers me a little bit. Somebody comes over and all of a sudden
yeah,
I'm like, no, you will not act that way.
yeah,
You will not make me look bad. I
right,
mean, I may
right.
not say that, but that's what's in my heart and that's so awful.
Yeah,
It just shows a lot about me and wanting people to think that I am something that I am not.
right. And also that we put so much stock in um, approving of ourselves instead of resting in the approval of Christ.
Oh my gosh. As if anybody else's approval matters.
Right. So in our right mind, we can say that and we can talk about that right now, and it
Mm-hmm.
sounds so great.
Yep.
And then I get in the middle of it and it's like, Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
remind me of truth, because
Mm-hmm.
I can't even see it right this
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. And you know what? I've been thinking about a lot. That's been a constant thing I've been thinking about, this, my identity in Christ and approval from others over the past couple of months. And when I find myself in a situation where my flesh wants to totally react in a way that would make people approve of me, but I can feel in my spirit the truths that I've been trying to meditate on.
Mm-hmm.
And when I rest in that spirit truth, even though I have to fight wanting
Mm-hmm.
that approval, it honestly really does feel better.
Right. It does.
And you don't think it's going to.
Right. No. No, you don't.
No. But I honestly do feel like, okay, God, what you say in your word, I'm feeling it right now and it's true.
Yeah. It's a painful stripping, but it's freedom. It's like taking off those handcuffs that they've been shackling us, and we've been holding on to them too. And then finally, like, taking them off. It's scary, but it is freedom. I think Martin Luther said that, like, the fight of the Christian faith is to believe the truth of the gospel. And so our fight isn't necessarily just against sin. It is in a lot of ways, but the fight is to believe that God really is as good as he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
The fight is to believe Jesus really is better.
Mm-hmm.
The fight is to believe that all I need, I truly already have in him.
Yeah.
And that's a fight to
That is a
believe
fight.
all those things.
I mean, just because the world we live in, the sin, the flesh, the sorrow, the joy, all of it can seem better.
Yeah.
Or stronger, but it's not.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I saw the other day that you were speaking to middle school kids.
Oh my word.
What was that about? What were you speaking about?
So last week, my mom and I were both in Central Florida all week. We normally don't leave for that long, but we had a bunch of stuff lined up, and it was cool. My daughter got to come with me, which was fun. But what we did is we went to this really large Christian school, and we got to just share the gospel with them. And so my mom did a lot of the speaking. I kind of gave my testimony and briefly added on in there, but she talked about the parable of the people who go and work in the vineyard, and the owner comes to them and says, I'll pay you a fair wage if you work all day. And then throughout the day, right, all these people come, and he keeps gathering more and more people, and at the end of the day, he pays them all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first question she asked everybody, and that we talked about, was, is God fair? And so we did 3 chapels. One was elementary age children, and then middle school, and then high school. So the elementary age kids, she asked the question, is God fair? And 300 of them resoundingly answered, yes, he's fair. And so then she went on to talk to them and told them that story. And then she said, now is that fair that they all got paid the same? And no, it wasn't fair. And she's like, exactly right. Now here's the thing. God actually isn't fair. God is good and God is loving, but he's not fair, because Jesus got all the punishment that we deserve, and that wasn't fair. And we get all the good stuff that Jesus deserved, and that's not fair. So God isn't fair, but we should be happy about that because he's good and he's loving. And so we did that with the middle schoolers too, went into a little bit more detail, and then again with the high schoolers did the same thing. And man, I don't know what it is. Get me in front. I can talk to thousands of women. Get me on a stage in front of a huge group of women, And I feel no nervousness.
Right.
I just don't. But I was honestly like hoping that I would come down with the flu so that I didn't have to get up in front of middle schoolers.
Oh, I can understand this for sure. Because they're just looking at you and you
Yeah.
wonder, is there anybody in there, first of all? And then like what are you thinking? Are you hearing me? Like they just have this look.
Oh, and it's like even if it's like their automatic default, their resting face is an "I hate you" face.
Yes.
So even if they're engaged, it's like I think everybody in this room hates me, and they're gonna go and say mean things about me.
Right.
And it's just a bunch of middle school kids. But I seriously, and I told the guy who's the chaplain of the school, I just said I have not been this nervous, and I don't even know how long. And he said, and it never gets better. He's like, I've been doing this for years, and every time I'm in front of them, the middle school kids specifically, I feel I'm so nervous. My stomach is in knots.
Oh
Isn't
my
that
gosh.
funny?
No, I totally can believe it. And for me too, if that were me in your situation, if I was in front of a bunch of middle school kids, I think for some reason, and this is not right at all, I would feel so much responsibility.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're so just like impressionable and they're just, I would just feel this weight is what I would feel a little bit more.
Yeah. And a way to communicate what you want to say in a way that they'll
understand it. Yes.
Yeah. That's what's hard. Because again, I think like talking to women, a group of adults, I feel like I'm able to communicate in a way that they'll understand. Now, I may be delusional, and I just like to think that, and it gives me confidence.
Well, I think that's not true.
But then with these kids, it's like, no, you can't talk down to them. You know, you want to treat them with respect.
Because they think they're adults.
Right. But then they don't have the ability to really understand. Mm-hmm. So, because they're not mature enough yet.
No, their brains don't work properly.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, no, they don't. I just think it's so, in some ways, I'm just like a middle schooler all over again.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, no, it was hard, but it was good. It was real good. And had a lot of the teachers come up and talk to us after how that had spurred some amazing conversations. So.
That's great. That's great. And your daughter got to go with you, which is fun.
She did. It was great. I mean, one of the hard things about doing what I do, which is mainly I go and sell my mom's books and travel with her. I do speak occasionally, but mainly just her traveling companion, and like to keep her in check because she can be a little wild.
Yeah, I bet.
But so that's hard to be gone. But having my daughter come with us was actually it was very sweet for her to even.
Girls trip.
Yes, we had fun. We held alligators and
so fun.
We went on an airboat in the middle of Lake Jessup, which was amazing. The guy was trying to scare us, so he was like trying to like spin the boat out so that we would be scared, but we just tried to act like we weren't.
Yeah, no, that would scare me. Were there alligators around?
Yes.
See, that would
he said it was
I would be crying. I would be crying, demanding for him to get me off of this boat immediately. I don't play with joking like that. It's not funny to me. Oh.
Yeah, so.
But y'all live in California, right?
Yeah, San Diego specifically. Now, the reason I have to say that is because Northern and Central California are not Southern California.
No.
We're much better.
So you're in San Diego.
Well, we're a suburb of San Diego, yeah.
Okay.
It's just like Austin is so much different than,
Round
anywhere,
Rock.
right?
Yeah.
It's much cooler. So
it's so cool.
Right. So you would say no, like if someone said to you, "Oh, you live in Texas," you're like, "No, yes, but no,
Austin.
I live in Austin."
Like, I live in Austin, yeah.
Right, right. Same thing. So San Diego. I live in San Diego because it's much better.
It is one of the most wonderful places on the planet that God created. I used to have family out there, and so we would go out there a lot.
Yeah.
And the weather, the best.
Yes.
We had a couple of days, earlier in October, where it was just the perfect weather, and I was like, "This is San Diego. This is why people live there." And ours was gone in 12 hours, but for that small moment, it was like, "This is the best."
It is. Someone said it's like you can't feel the weather. Except if you want to go lay in the sun, and then it's just warm enough. Yeah. But it's not. We have a couple weeks of bad weather every year. So a couple weeks where it's real hot in the summer, and then a couple weeks in the winter that well, I guess it rains, which isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're 70s pretty much year round.
Which is the best. That's my favorite kind of weather. The kind of weather where you can wear shorts and a sweatshirt.
Yes, yes.
That's the best.
Right. And always be able to wear flip-flops.
Always flip-flops.
I put on normal shoes and my feet don't know what to do. So when we travel and I have to actually wear shoes,
right.
I'm like, my feet are just, I can hear them screaming in protest. What are you doing? Where are the flip-flops? Where are your rainbow sandals that you wear constantly?
Take me back to San Diego.
Yes.
Wasn't there a show? I'm thinking back when I was a kid. Wasn't there a Carmen San Diego?
Yes.
What was that? Where in the world is Carmen? Is that it?
I'm just going to let you sing that whole thing by yourself. I know the words and I know the tune, but
that's about all I got right there.
Wasn't it like a geography show?
Yes, I remember watching it though.
Yeah, vaguely.
Vaguely.
See, I'm older than you, so maybe it was out young. Maybe it was out earlier.
Do you want to say?
How old am I? I turned 40 in March. I will turn 40. What?
I'm 36, so we're not that much different.
Well, yeah, but 40, when you say 40 like that, that's kind of a big deal.
Well, I will say, when I turned 36 was harder for me than 30 or 35 because for me it went, you're on the other side. You're not in your early 30s anymore. We're now late 30s is what we've jumped into.
That's right. But see, I just figure if I act like I'm 12, it'll all even out. So like,
it works.
For Halloween, my mom was like, well, my whole family, my 16-year-old was mortified. I was a whoopee cushion.
Wait, time out. This is what you dressed up as?
Yeah. So I found this costume at like a Sears outlet. It was $5.
Okay.
It was the cheapest. But I looked like a whoopee cushion. This huge costume, like it covered my whole body.
Oh my gosh.
And he was my 16-year-old was so, Mom, no. And I went trick-or-treating with them. Like I went out and I went up to doors because I wanted to embarrass everybody.
Because that's the best costume I've ever heard. Did it make noises? I need to know this.
Well, it didn't, but I downloaded an app on my phone.
Of course.
And I would just press it randomly. And so we ran into a group of my son's football friends, my older Wesley's football friends. And they're like, go Wesley, whatever boys do.
Yeah.
And then the next day, yesterday, he said, everybody, we were with my sister-in-law and my brother too. And my sister-in-law was wearing football pads. She found in our garage. She just put them on. I don't even understand it, but she felt like she was dressing up. So whatever. So she put them on. And look, I'm all being judgmental, and I'm wearing a whoopee cushion.
I did notice, but it's okay.
And so she's wearing the football pads. So I guess his friends were like, "Oh, why was your mom wearing football pads?" Because they thought she was me. And he said, "Oh, she wasn't." And I said, "Well, did you tell him I was the one in the whoopee cushion?" He's like, "No, I will never say that to anybody."
That's hilarious.
It was. He was like legitimately embarrassed, which almost makes it better.
I was going to say, I would totally just walk around with that farting machine and a whoopee cushion.
Yes.
In fact, your next way, like if he's like, talking back or disobeying, you'd be like, look, I will show up at your football game as a whoopee cushion. Just wait.
Oh, and a sign that says Wesley Thompson's my son.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so funny. So did y'all, your kids are still old enough they still trick or treat?
Listen, I will force them to trick or treat until they move out of the house.
So did they want to, or was this like, we have to because mom says?
No, they wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have so much fun. And they have like little cousins that come with us, which makes it more fun, when they're 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And so, what 16-year-old boy is going to say no to candy?
A free load of candy. I mean, no one says no to that.
Right. So, no, they're still into it.
That's so funny. Halloween is like one of my least favorite holidays.
Really?
Well, because I don't know what's wrong with me, but
probably a lot.
Yeah,
like.
Exactly. The whole just see how much candy we can put in our mouth at one time, and just like my kids then turn into these like hoarding machines, and they're like, don't look at my candy, this is mine, and the whole thing just bothers me.
Yeah.
But this year was the first year. I've almost 11 years. So this was the first year that as we were walking, my husband was like, "You're really calm tonight." Because normally I'm like, "Stop eating candy. Everybody stop. How many pieces have you had? No, you're done. You're done. Give me your bag." I mean, normally I'm just freako psycho mom. And I'm like, I decided today, I'm just going to let it go. I don't care how much candy they eat tonight. I don't care.
And you drank a bottle of wine before you went,
and
right?
then everything's better. But I really was just like, I'm just going to let it go. And so Halloween was better for me this year because I wasn't counting candy.
Right. It makes a big difference. That should be some sort of, push that into a parable of real life or something.
Thank you. Yes.
I think that's pretty amazing. I don't know the connection, but I'm sure there is one spiritually.
We can come up with one. Yeah. We can come up with one for sure.
I think we could.
Oh my gosh. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts? Are you a podcast
sometimes.
listener?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard about this new podcast called Serial?
Oh my gosh.
Please tell me you have.
Did you hear my excitement? I'm so happy when I find other people who are.
Are you listening?
I am. So I listened the whole. I heard about it, and then I listened the whole way home at a bunch of episodes to catch up on. So when we were in Florida, I listened to them the whole way home, and my daughter kept trying to talk to me, and I was like, "No, this is not the time or the place."
Mom is busy.
Yes, I am. Are you?
Okay, yes. And I just randomly heard about it. We're fans of This American Life, and so I randomly heard about it, but I didn't know what it was. And so I downloaded it, and the first 3 must have come on my phone, and I just randomly picked the third one. I mean, I didn't know. And I listened to the entire thing and still didn't even know that I had missed so much. But I went back, and I am completely caught up, and literally when it turns Thursday, I'm excited to drop my kids off at school because on the trip home and to get them, I can listen to one and I love it.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I don't know. Like I was telling Aaron, for those of you that listen, if you don't know, this is a new podcast put out by This American Life, NPR in Chicago. And it's called Serial with an S, not like the cereal you eat. And it's this woman who so far we're 6 episodes in, and each episode takes a little section of a crime. So she's like digging deeper. And we're 6 episodes in, and honestly, sometimes I listen and I'm like, he did not do that.
Yeah.
I cannot prove this. And other times I'm like, he totally did this.
Yes.
I have no result. I have nothing.
Yeah. So I was talking to my brother about it last night. Don't you love it when you find someone else who's listening to it?
Yes.
Because then you're like, oh!
Yes.
And I didn't know he was listening, and he didn't know I was, and we were talking about it last night. And I think I agree with him. Like right now I'm in Jay and Adnan did it together.
Okay.
Or however you say his name.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Is that they actually planned it and did it together.
And Jay just is like selling him out.
Yes. Yes. Or here's my other one. So that's one that I play with, and the other one is Jay did it with someone else.
And they just threw the blame on him.
Yes.
I know, it's so fishy. Everything is.
It is. It is, but I love it. I'm addicted.
And then I just keep thinking, like, we have to have resolve here. I mean, surely.
I know. And I don't know if we're gonna.
Because all of these interviews, he's still in jail. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah. So what if it just ends and we're like, and she's like,
I'm
sorry.
mad. Then I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad at this woman. I'm mad at NPR. I'm mad at everybody involved. But then my other thing is, when this is resolved, whatever, will they go on to they'll have another case?
I hope so, because now I'm hooked.
It is literally my favorite podcast right now, for sure.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, she's probably getting other people sending her.
I like story stuff. Like, hey, check out this.
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I was.
Right. It's an amazing program.
It's so
Everybody
good.
who has no idea what we're talking about right now is probably like, wait, what?
It's so dumb. But I'm like, they're going to go check it out because they hear our excitement.
They should. I'm so excited about it.
I
really
love it too.
Excited.
It's really, really good. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. How many, do you have any brothers, sisters?
I do. I have an older brother.
That you just told me. Yeah. And
Yeah,
does he
so
live in
my
San
older
Diego?
Yeah, we all live within about 40 minutes of each other. So we're all in San Diego. Yeah. So my older brother is 6 years older, and then I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody's there.
Yes, everybody's here for right now.
I want that. Like, sometimes when I dream about when my kids are older and I put Aaron and I downtown in a condo, like,
That's where we're going to live
living the life, you know? But sometimes I'm like, I really do hope my kids live close by. But that's completely selfish, and I want them to do whatever God wants them to do, obviously. But
no, you don't. You want them to. But what you want them to do, whatever God wants them to do. But what God wants them to do is live close by.
Right in Austin, yeah. But that's so fun. I love that. It makes me think of the TV show Parenthood. Just everyone just kind of gets together on the weekends for dinner, and they live their lives. See?
Yeah, and we're totally dysfunctional too, so it works.
Who isn't? Right. I know, it's great.
Yeah, it's cool. We're my younger brother, he is in seminary right now and is about to finish, so he'll be a pastor.
Oh.
And so he might get a call. I guess those are the words. He's part of a different denomination, so he might get a call somewhere else.
Yeah.
So right now I'm fasting and praying against that.
For sure. Or a call close in Southern California.
Yeah, either one of those would be fine. But my brother and his wife, our families lived together for 2 years.
So fun.
2 years ago we had 2 years where we shared a big house together. Which was... How
did that work out?
It was, when the 2 years was over, it was a good thing.
Okay. I wonder, that sounds dreamy, and I'm like, oh, fun. But then I'm like, I don't know.
There were parts of it that the memories, especially for our kids.
For your kids, for sure.
It just, it'll never be replaced. It's amazing how much fun we had. And, and then there's other stuff that's obviously really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I hear
both.
You. It was great. We had some friends live with us when we first moved to Austin about 6 years ago, and we just had 2 kids at the time, and they had 0 kids. Okay. And they were with us, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And so it wasn't any long term, so we didn't have to go through those long term things. I think that a couple of weeks, anybody can do that. It's when you get into like the months. But it was just like a constant hangout, fun, cooking, watching. It was just so fun. It was really, really fun. But again, they had no kids. We had 2 little kids, and it was like 3 weeks.
Right.
It was an extended, just like vacation.
And there was parts of it that felt like that sometimes. But then there's also real life. And
it's life. I know, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And kids sinning against each other, and parents sinning against each other.
Yes.
So
fun.
Yeah.
I always say, I used to watch this show. We don't have cable anymore, so I don't even know if it's still on, but I used to watch Sister Wives.
Yes.
Have you ever seen it?
No, because I'm a Christian.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
I'm just joking.
So, you know the premise, obviously. But I used to always think like, man, there are so many positives about having all these extra women around.
They're really that. I will agree with that part. I've always said every woman needs a good wife.
Yeah, so, it was just the sharing of the husband thing that did it for me.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, a little weird. But all the extra women around, it was just like, would be really great.
Yeah, that part would. And that was one thing that was great. So my sister-in-law, she is great at cooking, and she's organized, and she loves to have a clean house.
Well,
all those things are pretty much my exact opposite.
So y'all worked really well together. She cooked and cleaned.
She cooked and cleaned, and I, read. So it was amazing.
You had it made, let me tell you. I can think of nothing better than that.
Oh boy, it's amazing she still talks to me.
Yeah, y'all made it through the 2 years.
We did. The Lord was our helper.
There you go. Oh my gosh. But you know what? Everywhere around the world, families live together, and so
yeah,
it has to work.
Well, theoretically it worked.
Right.
And it did. It's just, living with anybody that is not your husband.
Yeah, that takes time to get, when you first get married, you're like, wait, that's not how I do things.
I've been married almost 20 years, and I'm still saying that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Hey, good thing he is like an awesome gift giver.
I know. He makes up for it.
Could you ask him what I should get my husband for his birthday coming up? He loves to cook and music. See what he comes up with.
Listen, my kids always say the reason he's such a good gift giver is because he gives you things that you didn't even know you wanted.
See, that's a special gifting right there.
It is.
Because that person, they know you so well, and they love you so well, and they know what you would want.
Right.
Oh, man.
I know, and then I just think I am such a failure.
I don't even know who you are, children.
It's true.
Oh, but at our house, you said your husband buys all the gifts. At our house, like on Christmas Day, when the kids are opening the gifts, Aaron's always like, "Oh, that's a good thing you got." Yeah. I didn't know. It's a surprise to everybody in the house but me. So that's always fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he really does. So he'll tell me some gifts, but I don't know all of them. So as they're opening them, I'm like, no way, that's awesome.
Do you and him exchange Christmas gifts?
Sometimes, like when we have money, we do.
Okay. Aaron and I have never one time done Christmas gifts, and I think it's because when we first got married, we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And then even as we started having kids, we still had no money. So we were like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But so we've never even done it.
And see, I've always, so that's me. Like, I'm like, oh, no big deal. Don't worry about it. And he's like, yeah, let's not. And then he does.
And then you didn't?
Oh, right. Always.
Oh, man.
And then but then he's nice about it. Don't worry about it. If I didn't need anything. And then it's like doubly worse.
Right.
So if he would be a jerk and just like, great, thanks a lot, then I could get mad back. But
but you can't because he's so nice.
No. Yeah. So I'm shamed doubly.
Right. Well, I think I say this year you buy him a gift.
I know, but what? See,
oh, that's right. Oh.
I buy a gift and it's stupid, or just don't buy a gift at all.
That's what my dilemma is with Aaron. I mean, I don't know what to do. But then I start to feel like, do I even know him? Like, yeah. The man I love, do I know you at all? I can't even buy you a gift.
I know. Oh. It's brutal.
It's okay. I'm going to search today, best gifts for your husband, and find something that I think he'll love. Surely there's some like Amazon list or something that can help me with this. Oh.
It's so impersonal.
I know.
The internet, tell me everything.
Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay, Jessica. Thanks for chatting with me today.
I'm sad this is over.
I know, it was so fun, isn't it?
It is.
It's like the best happy hour.
It makes me happy.
I know. Okay, you told me that we could give away a book.
Yeah, let's give away a couple. So,
okay, what do you want to do?
How about if we give away? How many should I give away?
Whatever you want.
Okay. So how about if we give away? So I have 3 books.
Okay.
How about if we give away 1, Give Them Grace?
Uh-huh.
How about if we give away 2, Exploring Grace, which is the devotional?
Uh-huh.
And then 2, Answering Your Kids' Toughest Questions.
I love it. Sounds great.
Is that?
Yeah, it sounds good. And I'll put, if you're listening, I'll put on the blog how you can win. So it's easy.
Okay.
So fun. And I've read these books. You're going to love them. Actually, I haven't read Answering Your Toughest Questions.
Yeah, and you know what is interesting? I feel like that's one of those books that people don't feel like they need.
Mm.
And then when the questions come, it's like, oh.
No, then they're like thankful they have Amazon Prime because their kids ask them a question and they're like, I'll tell you in 2 days. Give me 2 days and I'm on it.
Let me pray and fast about that.
For 2 days. And then when the mailman comes, we're in. Come back to me, honey. Oh. Well, I mean, like I said, you don't want to think about it because you don't think that you're going to have to, I don't know. Yeah. It's just crazy, but I'm thankful that y'all wrote that book. So
thanks. Yeah.
I'm going to read it before the questions. And then I'm going to initiate the conversations.
Yes. See? They love that, by the way.
I like how you said, you can act like you're listening and you can just sit there, but this is what I'm going to do.
It's mainly just to appease my own self.
I feel like that's what you have to say to middle school boys. If you just hopefully you'll hear something, but at least act like you're listening.
Yes.
Love it. Great parenting right there. I love it so much. It's the best. The best.
How to teach your kid to be a Pharisee in 3 easy steps.
Just smile and nod. Smile and nod, and your mom will always think you're listening.
I still do that with my mama.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay, I got it. And then your heart is just evil. Oh, that's why we need Jesus.
Yes. See, what a great way to end.
That's right. I will say this. One of the things, and just a little plug for you, like how much I love your stuff, is that it is so gospel-centered.
Yeah.
Like everything is just straight up gospel. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It is such a way that we want to parent our kids.
Yeah.
But I think so many times as parents, we can not on purpose, but like subconsciously default to rules and guidelines, and if you do this, then you're looking good,
Right.
because we want our kids to obey and to look right.
Right.
So it's such a breath of fresh air when I read this parenting stuff, and it just always brings me back to Jesus, the gospel, grace.
Yeah.
It's so good. So thank you for you and your mom for putting that out there for us parents.
Yeah.
So good. Awesome. Okay. Thanks for joining me on the happy hour.
Thanks for having me. And someday in real life we'll sit and do this.
I have a feeling this is going to happen sooner than later.
I hope so.
Too. So we'll sit and that's what all set.
Yes.
Whatever else we want.
Whatever else we want.
Yes. All right. Have a good day. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Loved my time with Jessica. She is so funny and so down to earth and so real and so just full of Jesus. I had so much fun talking with her. As you heard her say, she's giving away 5 books, and so I'm going to pick 5 winners. I'll pick them a week after this podcast goes up. And so all you need to do is leave a comment over on my blog. It's jamieivey.com. Any comment you want. I put a couple of questions up on the blog in case that helps you with your comments. Like, what are some of the toughest things you've had to talk with your kids about? What are some of the other favorite podcasts you listen to? I mean, besides the happy hour, of course. And if you listen to Serial, we want to know what you think, because we recorded this, 5 weeks ago. Now we're 10 episodes in, and we just want to know what you think. I also, for your viewing pleasure, have put a picture of Jessica up in her whoopee cushion costume, because I know you were all wondering what that exactly looks like. And it is as funny as you thought in your head. Guys, thanks for listening. It is always a joy when people listen. I spoke at an event last night at a little shout out, Hill Country Bible Church in Round Rock. And I had so many women come up and say, I love your podcast. And that is just so fulfilling for me, because this is so fun, because you got to meet Jessica Thompson today, and she's such a joy, and now you know her. I want to say thank you to a couple people who have left comments before on iTunes or my blog. I want to say thank you to someone who left a comment on iTunes. She said, Jamie, I've really enjoyed listening to your podcast. My kids are teens now, and this season of life tends to mean more hours of alone and quiet time than I would like. It's been like having girlfriends in my house to listen to you and your guest chat. Also getting new books added to my reading list. Love that so much. Also, thank you to Ruth Ann. She said, hey, Jamie, love your happy hours. I'm finally caught up thanks to listening in the kitchen, in the air, and in my car. I'm not married, so I love when you talk about the occasional non-mom topics. However, I do respite foster care, so I definitely have given some tidbits here and there. Austin's on my list, and I've never been. Thanks for all you do, Ruth Ann. Ruth Ann, you come to Austin because you're going to love it. Guys, thanks so much for leaving your comments. It helps people find the podcast better when you comment and rate on iTunes. And I love to hear from you on my blog, Facebook, or Twitter. Thanks, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed Jessica Thompson. Next 2 podcasts I have coming up for you are Rebecca Smith and Sarah Martin. So look for those. Have a great week.